Hello everyone, welcome to Time Classes. Today's topic is mensuration and we will be using the handout QCT 353-2007. I hope you have this handout with you. Even if you don't, it's perfectly alright because I will be posting the questions on the slide and I will also be taking some more additional questions to deepen your understanding of the topic. In order to get the most out of this class, I suggest that you have a rough copy on the side for quick calculations and solving of questions. And also please keep taking notes from the slides during the class. And with this, let us begin. A prerequisite for the topic of mensuration is geometry, which all of you have completed. And in today's class, first we will cover some basic concepts related to 2D geometry, and then we will move on to 3D figures. So consider a circle and a sector. A sector is simply 2 points B and C on the circumference connected to the center of the circle. The perimeter of the circle is given as 2 pi r, as you already know. And the length of arc BC. Can I say that arc BC is simply a fraction of the complete circumference? And that fraction is theta degrees, that's the central angle, out of a total of 360 degrees. So the length of arc becomes 2 pi r in its fraction, theta divided by 360. An arc is similar to the crust of a pizza slice. So imagine that you have a pizza slice and imagine a cheeseburger pizza. So the crust part corresponds to the arc and the length of arc can be given as 2 pi r theta divided by 360. So imagine that you had 1/4 of a pizza. So how do you know it is 1/4? It will look something like this. This is 1/4 of the circle. How do you know it is 1/4? It is because the central angle would be 90 degrees out of a total of 360 degrees. And so the fraction becomes 90 divided by 360, and that is 1/4. So you had 1/4 of the total. Yes. The area of a circle is given as pi r square, and the area of the sector, this sector, would be a fraction of the total area. What fraction? 90 out of 360. And so the area of the sector would become pi r square into 90 divided by 360. The central angle theta is over here. Angle BOC is equal to theta. Please write that in your copies. Angle BOC equal to theta. And finally, if you needed the perimeter of the sector would be the length of arc plus the radius plus the radius, and that would become the perimeter of the sector. So it would become length of arc plus OB plus OC. That is length of arc plus 2 times the radius. And these are the basics that you need for the questions that we are about to solve. So please note these things down carefully. If you have doubts or queries, there is a chat option on the side. Please post your queries over there and we will resolve them within 24 hours. So with this, let's move to the first question. A wheel makes 588 revolutions to cover a distance of 1.848 kilometers. Find the radius of the wheel in meters. Please take 30 seconds to solve this question. Okay, you will note that the question is asking for radius in meters, but the answers are all in centimeters. So actually you need to find the radius in centimeters. Now, a wheel is a circle and the distance covered by the circle in one revolution would be its circumference, and its circumference is 2 pi r. So the distance covered would be 2 pi r in one revolution, and the total distance would be 2 pi r into 588. Yes. So the distance covered will be perimeter of the wheel into the number of revolutions, and that should be equal to 1.848 kilometers. So that is what we get. 2 pi r into 588 is equal to 1.848 kilometers. If you solve this particular equation, you will get the value of r in kilometers. But first I convert the kilometers to meters and I solve 2 pi r into 588 is equal to 1848 meters. So now my value of r will turn out to be, instead of 5 you can put 22 by 7. So you get 1848 into 7 divided by 2 into 22 into 588 meters. Now we convert meters to centimeters by multiplying by 100. So this particular equation that you have, this equation, you solve it and you multiply by 100 to get the value of r as 0.5 centimeters. I hope this is all right. Please note this down. Okay, let's move to the next question. We have already discussed what is a sector and the length of arc. So a sector is cut off from a circle. Find the length of the arc if the central angle is 135 degrees. Please solve quickly. You already know the formula. Okay, let's solve. So we know that the length of arc is given by 2 pi r theta by 360, where theta is 135 and r is 10.5. So we fit in the values of theta, r, and put pi equal to 22 divided by 7. You solve this particular calculation, and since the value of r was in centimeters, the length of arc would also be in centimeters, and you would get the answer as 24.75 centimeters. That is option number 4. Very straightforward, one formula and you have the answer. Yes, now this is a standard question from geometry. Let me make the diagram also for you. You have a triangle ABC. AB is 6, BC is 10, and AC is 9. If AD is the angle bisector of angle BAC, where D lies on BC, find BD. Please take 30 seconds to solve this question. Recall the properties of angle bisectors that you have covered in geometry and then use one of those properties. Okay, let's solve. Now, the property that is relevant over here is that if AD is an angle bisector, then AB by AC is equal to BD by DC. That is the property that you need to use. AB by AC is equal to BD by DC. Yes, which is equal to 6 by 9. So you get BD by DC as 2 by 3, where BC is 10 units. So using the concept of ratios, you can say that, you can write this part down. Let BD, DC be 2K, 3K respectively, implies 2K plus 3K equal to 10, implies 5K equal to 10, implies K equal to 2, implies 2K equal to 4. And what is 2K? 2K is BD. So BD is 4, and that is what you need to calculate. I'll repeat this once more. So BD by DC is 2 by 3. Let BD, DC be 2K, 3K respectively. So 2K plus 3K is equal to 10. BD plus DC is 10. So 2K plus 3K is 10. So 5K is 10. So K is equal to 2 and 2K equal to 4. The other way to solve this is that BD is 2 parts and BC is 5 parts. So that means BD will be 2/5 of BC. So BD will be 2/5 of 10, and that is 4 centimeters. Choice number 4. Let's proceed to the next question. This question is going to be a little tough. And the most important thing here will be making the diagram. So please read the question carefully and make a diagram. Take 30 seconds. That's all. So the first thing becomes making the diagram, and the diagram will look something like this. You have the value of DC and AB. These are 2 chords of length 16 and 30 centimeters. Center of the circle is O. I join OC and OB, which are the center, which are the radii. Now what I do is that I draw perpendiculars from the center of the circle to the chords. Here, you can write this in your copies. OP is perpendicular to DC and OQ is perpendicular to AB. These are the things that are given. CD is 16, AB is 30. P and Q are the midpoints that I have assumed, and I then draw 2 perpendiculars. So angle OPC and OQB are 90 degrees. I use the property of the circle that perpendicular drawn from the center to a chord bisects the chord. Please write this carefully in your copy. It's a common property in circles. Perpendicular drawn from the center of a circle to the chord bisects the chord. And so I get PC is half of 16 and QB is half of 30. So now I have two right angle triangles, triangle OPC and OQB, and I can use Pythagoras theorem. So what I do is that I take OP equal to X and the distance between the chords is given as 23 centimeters. So I get OQ as 23 minus X. And then I use Pythagoras theorem in triangle OPC. So I get R square is equal to 8 square plus X square. That is equation number 1. Right angle triangle, Pythagoras theorem. And then I also use Pythagoras theorem in the other triangle, that is triangle OQB. So I get R square equal to 23 minus X square whole square plus 15 square. And I can simply equate equation 1 and 2 because both of them are equal to R square. So I get R square equal to 64 plus X square is equal to 23 minus X whole square plus 225. I can now expand 23 minus X square. So I will get 64 plus X square is equal to 23 square is 529. So I am using basically a minus b whole square is a square plus b square minus 2ab. So I get 529 minus 2 into 23 into x, that is 46x, plus x square plus 225. X square will get cancelled out and then you can simply solve for x. We will get x equal to 15. And when x is equal to 15, simply put the value of x in equation number 1 or 2. And you get r square equal to 8 square plus 15 square. That is 64 plus 225. So r square is equal to 289, implies r is equal to 17. So this was a medium level question in terms of difficulty, and definitely it would take at least 2 minutes to solve such a question. And this is because there are multiple steps. First, you have to make a perpendicular from the center. It will bisect the chord. Then you have to use Pythagoras theorem 2 times. Then you solve to find x, and then you solve to find r. And that is what makes this question difficult, because there are so many steps. There is nothing fancy or difficult, but yes, you need to do more to get the answer. So it becomes a medium difficulty question. So let's move to the next question. I hope you have noted down everything on this slide. Okay, this is going to be a different question, more related to mensuration. You have a wire and it's in the shape of a circle, and then it is turned into a square. Find the area of the square. Please take 30 seconds. Okay. A wire, whether it is in the shape of a circle or a rectangle or a square, what is going to remain the same? The length of the same, no matter in which shape you put it. So that means when it's in a circle with a particular radius, you can now find out the length of the wire, which would be the perimeter of the circle. So the length of the wire turns out to be the circumference of the circle or the perimeter of the circle, and that would be the same as the perimeter of the square, because the length of the wire will remain the same. So the perimeter of a circle is 2 pi r, and the perimeter of the square is 4 times the side of the square. And I equate you get the side of the square as 22 centimeters. For S equal to 2 into pi into r implies 4 will get cancelled out, this 2 will get cancelled out, and this will become 11. So, and 14 divided by 7 becomes 2. So 11 into 2 becomes 22 centimeters. Now you have a square of side 22 centimeters. What is its area? Area of a square is side square. That is 22 into 22. So your answer is 484 centimeters square. And I would also say that please write down for this particular question that what are you using over here? Length of wire remains the same. Length of wire remains the same. Implies circumference of circle equal to perimeter of square. Right at the top over here you can write length of wire remains the same. And that is the basic principle that we are using in this question. Okay, let's move to the next question. This question is slightly different and it is not in your handout. All the previous questions were from your handout. The most important thing here is the figure. Please read the question carefully. What is it trying to say? Then make the figure and then see what you need to calculate. Please take 30 seconds. One path is parallel to the length, the other is parallel to the breadth, and each path connects the opposite sides of the path. Okay, let's look at the diagram. The diagram would look something like this. I have a rectangular path of length 40, breadth 30, and I draw two paths of width 5 meters. So this is a width of 5 meters. This path is parallel to the length. This path is connecting opposite sides of the path. This path is parallel to the breadth. It is connecting opposite sides of the path and it has a width of 5 units. So find the area of the path not covered by the paths. So if this length was 40 and this is 5, that means the remainder has a length of 35 meters. And over here, the remainder of the path has a breadth of 25 meters. So the remaining part that is not covered by tiles is a rectangle of length 35 and breadth 25. So simply the area of the park not covered becomes 25 into 35 and is done. Now, to complicate things, what you could have done is that you could have placed this path somewhere in the middle and this path somewhere in the middle. Of course, you will get the same answer, but the calculations would be a little longer. Whereas over here, when I have put the paths to a particular edge, then the whole area not covered by the park is together. It's a whole. Otherwise, it would be broken. One part here, one part there, one part there. So that would call for some longer calculations. Of course, it can be done, but this would be the best way to solve. So let's proceed to the next item. Okay, we are done with 2D figures. So now we proceed with the main topic for this class, that is solid figures or 3D figures. Now, the most basic 3D figure that one comes across is a cuboid. Please look around you. Do you see any cuboid? You are in a room, and that room is a cuboid. The door is a cuboid. Your bed is a cuboid. We are completely surrounded by cuboids. Your book is a cuboid. What is a cuboid? It has 3 dimensions: length, width, height. So this becomes a cuboid. And this is what a cuboid looks like. In figure number A, it has a length, it has a width, it has a height. And then we have a cube. A cube is a cuboid, but with all sides equal to each other. So the cubes that you have seen in your life would be a Rubik's cube, all sides equal. Or in some restaurants, they give sugar cubes. So that is an example of a cube. A cube has perfect symmetry. It is a cube is a cuboid with all sides equal. You can write this in your copy. A cube is a cuboid with all sides equal. And the properties that we will associate ourselves with related to these solid figures will be the area and the volume. Now, one way to understand these things is that if you want the curved surface area of a particular figure, what is the curved surface area? It is the area on the outside. For example, if I take this mouse and I want the curved surface area, then the area of this outer region is called the curved surface area. So the way to understand this is that you simply take the perimeter of the base. For example, you have a cuboid, or you are in a cuboidal room. So what is the area of the base? It would be, the base is a rectangle with a length and a breadth. Sorry, a length and a width is the same thing. So the perimeter of the base becomes 2 times L plus B. And then if you multiply it by height, you get the curved surface area. And then let's look at volume. Volume can be written as area of base, that's L into B, multiplied by height, that's H. L into B into H. That becomes the volume of a cuboid. And for a cube, how do you find out the volume? Area of base. Now base is a square of side A. So area of base becomes A square multiplied by A. That becomes A cube. The area of the 4 walls is the curved surface area. And as I mentioned, it would be 2 times L plus W. That's a rectangular base floor multiplied by height. And if we want for a cube, what the base is a square. So what is the perimeter of a square? 4A multiplied by A. That becomes 4A square. Of course, you can calculate it manually also. What would be the area of this wall? It would be length into height. Same for the opposite wall. So that becomes 2 times length into height. The wall on my right would be width into height. The wall on my left would be width into height. So I get 2 times length into height plus 2 times width into height, and that is the curved surface area of a cuboid. Now we come to another item, and that is the total surface area. What would be the total surface area of a cuboid? We took the area of the 4 walls as 2LH plus 2WH. Now we need to add the top and the bottom face. What is the bottom face? Length into breadth. What is the top face? Length into breadth. So what is the total surface area? 2 times LB plus BH plus HL. I am using breadth and width terms interchangeably. It's the same thing, whether you write B or W. And what would be the area of a cube? Simply, all of these sides become equal to each other. So I get a square plus a square plus a square. That's 3a square into 2. That is 6a square. Or we can say that is the curved surface area 4a square plus the area of the top face a square plus the area of the bottom face a square. That's 6a square. These formulae need to be very, very clear in your mind, and within 1 or 2 steps, you will be able to answer your questions. Final item. What is the longest diagonal in a cuboid? But first, what is the longest diagonal? It would be from this point to this point. That would be the longest diagonal. Or it would be from this point to this point. So there will be 4 such longest diagonals. If you look in your room, from that top corner to that bottom corner becomes the longest diagonal, whose length is given as square root of L square plus W square plus H square. And if I put all the sides equal to A, then I get root of 3a square, which is equal to a root 3. So in this slide, we have learned various properties related to cuboid and cube, and we have understood how to understand and calculate curved surface area and volume of any 3D figure. Please write all of this down. So let's move to the next theory part. What are these? The top item is a cylinder and the bottom item is a cone. Where have you seen a cylinder before? A gas cylinder. It is a cylindrical face with 2 circles at the top and the bottom face and a perfectly curved portion in the middle. Your water bottle is also often a cuboid. A spring is also in the shape of a cuboid. A lampshade is also in the shape of a cuboid. There are cylinder. A water bottle is a cylinder. A gas cylinder is a cylinder. A spring is a cylinder. A lampshade is a cylinder. And what is a cone? Where have you seen a cone before? An ice cream cone. The kind that you get at Mother Dairy with the base completely flattened. That is a cone. So the cone is a part of the cylinder. So obviously, if the cone and the cylinder have the same radius, then the volume of the cone will be a fraction of the volume of the cylinder. I'd like you to write this in your copy. If a cylinder and a cone have the same radius, then the volume of the cone will be a fraction of the volume of the cylinder. And let's see what I'm trying to say. How will we calculate the volume of a cylinder? It will be area of base pi r square into height. Area of base into height. So you get pi r square. Whereas for a cone, the cone is a fraction of the cylinder. Now this formula is obtained using integration, so you don't need to concern yourself with it. So you get 1/3 of pi r square. So what we can see over here is that yes, the volume of a cone is a part of or a fraction of the volume of a cylinder. What is the fraction? It is 1/3. I see 2 more items in the cylinder, in the cone. the length of the side, you can say sort of the hypotenuse, is called as the slant height. And this slant height is referred to as S or L. Now, let's move to the next item, the curved surface area. What would be the curved surface area of a cylinder? Perimeter of base into height, 2 pi r into height. So you get 2 pi r h as the curved surface area of a cylinder. If you understand it in this way, perimeter of base into height, area of base into height, then you do not need to mug up these formulae. You can simply understand them. And the curved surface area of a cone is something different. It is given as pi r L, where L is the slant height, and we calculate L using L square equal to h square plus r square. Now this looks very similar to a Pythagoras theorem, but we don't have any triangle over here. We don't have a right angle triangle. So where is this being used? In this cone, when I am looking at this cone, actually I am able to imagine one of those party hats that we used to get, at least when I was small. So from this top is, if I put a line over here, making 90 degrees, and a line over here, then this triangle, you can make this triangle in your figure, in your copies. This triangle becomes a right angle triangle of height h and radius r, and to get h square plus r square is equal to L square, and that is where this formula for slant height is coming from, and this is what will be used in questions to calculate the curved surface area. And finally, the total surface area of a cylinder will be curved surface area 2 pi r h plus the top face pi r square plus the bottom face pi r square. So you get 2 pi r h plus pi r square plus pi r square, that's 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r square. And for a cone, you get pi r L, the curved surface area, plus the area of the base, that is pi r square. So we get pi r L plus pi r square. I hope you are noting down all of these formulae, because these are what you will have to use in the upcoming questions. Let's continue to the last part. We come to a sphere and a hemisphere. We have seen spheres all around us. We have played with spheres all the time when we were small. A cricket ball is a perfect sphere. A perfect ice cream scoop is a sphere. Where else have we seen spheres? A basketball is a sphere. An orange or a mousme is a sphere. And if I have a mousme in my hand and I cut it exactly into half, then I get 2 hemispheres. And the hemisphere is shown in figure number F. So again, using integration, we get the volume of the sphere as 4 by 3 pi r cubed, and you need to know this by heart. And obviously the volume of a hemisphere would be half the volume of a sphere, so that becomes 2 by 3 pi r cubed. Next we come to the curved surface area. Again, for a sphere, the curved surface area is 4 pi r square. And you just need to know this, there's no way to understand it. And then for a hemisphere, the curved surface area would be, it has been halved. So the total area becomes half. So it becomes half of 4 pi r square, that is 2 pi r square. And the total surface area for a sphere remains the same as 4 pi r square. But for a hemisphere, you add the area of the top face. And so you get 2 pi r square plus pi r square, which is 3 pi r square. Please note this down. And that's all. This is all you need to know related to solid figures. The 6 kinds of figures: cuboid, cube, cylinder, cone, sphere, hemisphere. Formulae for volume: curved surface area, total surface area. Often volume is area of base into height. Curved surface area is perimeter of base into height. And that is what we have discussed so far. So let's begin with the questions now. This is the first question, not in your handout. The sum of length, breadth, height is 12. And the surface area of a cuboid is 94. Now you must be wondering, is this curved surface area or total surface area? So I will tell you, it is total surface area is 94 centimeters square. Find the sum of the squares of length, breadth and height of the cuboid. Please take 30 seconds to solve this. First find out what is given to you, then find out what you need to calculate, and then solve. Okay, so what is given to you? Surface area of a cuboid is 2LB plus 2BH plus 2HL. So you are given 2 times LB plus BH plus HL equal to 94. What do you need to calculate? We need to calculate L square plus B square plus H square. The property from algebra that I am going to use, that is L plus B plus H whole square is equal to L square plus B square plus H square plus 2LB plus 2BH plus 2HL. So rearranging the terms, I can now get the answer as 12 square minus 94. That's 144 minus 94, that is 50. 50 becomes your answer. So this question was slightly tricky because it's not just mensuration, but it also uses a formula from algebra. Okay, let's move to the next question. Very basic question, but you need to be clear what you need to calculate. Base radius of a cylinder is 28, height is 14. Find area of the metal sheet required to cover its curved surface. So you have a cylinder and you want to cover its curved surface. So what do you need to do? Please take 30 seconds. Okay, let's solve. You want to cover the curved surface of a cylinder, so you need to find out the curved surface area. Perimeter or base 2 pi r into height 2 pi r h. So what you need to find out is 2 pi r h, where r is 28 and h is 14. Substitute in the formula. You get 2 into 22 by 7 into 28 into 14. So your answer is 2464. That is option number 4. Option number 4 is your answer. Let's look at one more question, and with that we will end today's class. You have a cylinder of base radius 3 and height 12. It is melted and recast into a cone. Find the height of the cone. Please take 30 seconds to solve this. This is question 3 from your handout. what is remaining the same in this question that you have to use. Like we use the length of wire remained the same and we use that. Here what remains the same? Okay, let's solve. A cylinder is converted into a cone. A cylinder is converted into a cone. So obviously volume remains the same. So the volume of the cylinder is equal to the volume of the cone. The volume of the cylinder is given as pi r square h. That is pi into r is 3 into 3 into 12. And the volume of the cone is 1 by 3 pi, where radius is 9 and height is h. Pi gets cancelled out, 3 and 3, 9 gets cancelled out, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. So you get the height of the cone as 4 units, and that is your answer. So in today's class, we have learned some basic things related to 2D figures and solved some questions. Then we have understood the theory of 3D figures, what all may need to be calculated, how to calculate, and solve a few questions. We will continue with this topic in the next class, and then we will finish off mensuration. If you have had any queries, please put them down into the chat window and we will get back to you. Thank you for your attention.